Good day, sir. The Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life to respect. I will my private life in unsoiled as an example to all. Maintain courageous, calm in the face of danger. Scorn or ridicule, develop self-resistant, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both of personal and official life. I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulation of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudice, animosities, or friendship to influence my decision. With the compromise for crime and with the resentless is necessary in the performance of my duty, I will constantly and appropriately without fear or favor or lilwell, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am the true to the order of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. My report topic is Article 1, Primary Responsibility of Registered Criminologist. The primary responsibility of every person admitted to the practice of criminology as a registered criminologist is to bear faithful allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines and be loyal to his profession. So, kinahanglan na to as a registered criminologist nga faithful ta sa atong country, and kinahanglan na to dawaton nga whatever happened dapat faithful ta sa atong country, o kinahanglan nga atong ipakita sa tao or sa atong mga fellow people nga as a registered criminologist faithful ta nga mo serve sa atong country, and kinahanglan pod nga loyal ta sa atong profession. Kay kung dili nato love ug di ta loyal sa atong profession, dili ta malipayon kung unsa man ang profession nga atong adtuan. So as a registered criminologist, kinahanglan ta nga faithful sa atong country, and we should also be loyal sa atong profession. And also, they shall accept as a sacred obligation and responsibility as a citizen to support the Constitution of the Philippines, and as a registered criminologist to defend the principle of liberty as defined in the institution of law. So, as a registered criminology, dapat atong dawaton ang as a sacred obligation and responsibility as a citizen to support the Constitution. Kinahanglan nato dawaton nga isa ta as a registered criminology isa ta sa naay obligation o responsibility nga mo support sa atong constitution sa Philippines. And as a registered criminologist, kinahanglan po nato we should defend our principle of liberty kay or define as constitution of law, because kinahanglan nato na kay isa ta sa magpatuman or magsulti sa mga law nga dili nga mabuhat sa atong mga isigatao or tama ba na nga law. So dapat ato nang i-defend as a registered criminologist. And also as a registered criminologist, they shall strive to improve their effectiveness by diligent study and sincere attention to improvement, and welcome the opportunity to disseminate practical and useful information relating to matters occurring to the benefit of public safety and welfare. And as a registered criminology, even though nga nahuman na ta, pero kinahanglan bisa po nato mag-strive, mag-study for us nga mahimong effective pa ta nga personnel as a registered criminologist, o dako kay na siya nga makatabang sa ato nga ma-improve ta para sa ma-improve ta og makatabang na sa atong trabaho o sa atong kaugalingon nga makatabang kung mag trabaho na ka, even though nga gieskulahan mo na, but every day na kay makatunan nga bago, and you should also do that as your experience nga kana nga makatabang na sa imong kaugalingon sa imong profession as a registered criminologist, and also maka-accrue na sa o maka-benefits. Kinahanglan ta mag-study or mag-tuon kung unsa na to pag-accrue or
presentation about the limitation of authority. A. The first duty of a criminology as upholder of the law is to know its bounds upon him, be aware of limitation and prescription, and recognize the system of government. The give to no man, group, or institution absolute power. He must ensure that he is firm defender of that system, and as such must never permit its characters. B. The shall in the performance of their duty be just, impartial, and reasonable, never according anyone more preferential treatment. The another day shall recognize the limitation of their authority, and at no time use the power of their preparation for personal advantage. Explanation. To my understanding about this topic is about this first duty of a criminology as an advocate of the law is to know its limits. He must ensure that he is the means defender of the system in their duty to be just, impartial, and reasonable, to serve and protect the people.
Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all. Maintain courage, calm, and face of danger, scorn or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others, honest in thought and deed of in both my personal and official life. I will be exemplarily in obeying the laws of the land and the regulation of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confide to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless the revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officially or permit personal feelings, prejudice, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions with the compromise for crime and with the relentless prosecution or criminals. I will enforce the law, violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long I am the true to the other of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideas, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Good afternoon, sir. Today I will tackle about the Article 3, which is the private conduct. So when we say private conduct, it is a set of precepts that one individual tries to observe in daily life. So for example, precepts of preserving human life, speaking truthfully, or being nice to people. The registered criminologist must be mindful of his special identification by public as an upholder of law. Dapat maging maingat sa kanyang espesyal na pagkakakilanlan ng publiko bilang isang taga-suporta ng batas. He must never be lax in conduct or manner in private life, express disrespect for the law, nor seek to gain special privilege that would be reflected upon the profession. Hindi dapat siya maging apektado sa pag-uugali o pag-uugali ng pribadong buhay. Ipanihayag ang paggalang na ito para sa batas o hangarin na makuha ang espesyal na pribilehiyo na makikita sa profesyon. He must so conduct his private life that the public will regard him as an example of stability, fidelity, and morality. Gaganapin niya ang kanyang pribadong buhay na ituturing siya ng publiko bilang isang halimbawa ng isang katatagang sa katapatan at moralidad. Yun lamang po, sir, at maraming salamat.
Good day, sir. My name is Johnny Marquio Mistola. I'm going to recite a Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, the innocents. I protect the innocents against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional right of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, and ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful to the welfare of others, honest in thought and deed in my both personal and official life. I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and regulation of my department. Whatever I say or hear in confidential nature or that is confided to me, to my official capacity, will keep ever secret unless revelation is necessary in performance in my duty. In my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feeling, prejudice, animosities, or friendships to influence my decision with a compromise for crime and relentless prosecution or criminals. I will enforce the law cautiously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice, or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the other of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my decision, to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Thank you. So, this time I will report Article 4 that assigned to me. In this group activity or group reporting, Article 4 will be my report. Article 4. Conduct towards the public. In this article, there are three definitions. First is, being criminologist defaces this dignity, fairness, genuine willingness to help are essential to criminologist's public image. So as a criminology, as an official or as an officer, we serve to the public as good. We serve to the civilian. We help to the civilian, poor people, lowest people. We must help them as our service. We must enforce our law. So second is, criminologists must be mindful of their responsibility in dealing with individuals or the whole community in instilling respect for its laws and their profession. So, as a criminologist, there must be mindful of their profession. They must apply their being a good Samaritan, a good example as all, because being a professional, being an officer in our society, we must do in a human society. We must have esteem our profession because this is our choosing. So we must apply as good to the public. So the third is, criminologists must bear constantly in mind their obligation to serve the public efficiently and effectively by being punctual and expeditious in their duties. So that is criminologists. So when we say criminology, is because the passes the passes the athlete ability. When we say athlete, kumbaga dili sila lousy, paspas. Once we don't know the criminologists are louses. They are all an athlete ability. And also be mindful to their obligation to the community. They all are doing perfect and efficient and reliable to our community as an officer. That was the criminologist that passes this.
As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against the violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life insulted as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scum or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought, indeed in both my personal and official life. I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulation of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confined to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessarily in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudice, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions cautiously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice, or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held as long as I am true to the order of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Article 6. Attitude towards fellow criminologists. A. The criminologist shall strive constantly to improve professional standing of criminology through association with others in the profession in keeping abreast with the fast-moving world of science and technology through constant research and development. B. He shall cooperate fully with the fellow criminologists regardless of personal prejudice. He should, however, be assured that such as is proper and in accordance with law and guard against the sue of this office or person, knowingly or unknowingly in any improper or illegal action. He always bear in mind at all times that it is not sufficient to be proficient in one's work. He must also have a high sense of justice, a belief in the dignity and worth of all men, and a proper motivation and attitude. He must possess a sense of dedication to his profession and a sense of duty and obligation to his fellow men. C. He shall cooperate with the fellow criminologists and public officials to the end and the safety and general welfare of the public will be assured, never permitting jealousness or personal differences to influence their professional duties and obligations. Criminologists collect and analyze both qualitative and quantitative data on criminal activity. They work with police forces and government policymakers, sharing their insights on crime prevention and criminal profiling. Peace, yo.
Enforcement Code of Ethics. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against intimidation, oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence, or disorder, and to respect constitutional rights of all men of liberty. I will keep my private life as unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, be constantly mindful to the welfare of others. Honest and thought, indeed, in my both personal and official life, I will be exemplary, obeying the laws of the land and regulation of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature, or it is confided to me in my official capacity, will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decision. With the compromise of crime with the relentless persecution or criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appreciatively without fear or favor malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as an symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust, to be held as long as I am true to the other police service. I will constantly strive to object this to achieve these objectives ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. And now I will report the Article 7 and Article 8. So, Article 7, Code of Ethics. The universally accepted Code of Ethics for law enforcement shall be temporarily adapting pending formulation of a more specific code that embraces all aspects of criminology. So, this Code of Ethics for the law enforcement officers, it is an aspects of being a criminology. So, it is all about roles, manners, and responsibilities if dapat nimo nga buhaton as a registered criminologist na ka. So kay willing ka mo serve sa ato ang country, so dapat with all our hearts gid ta mo serve sa mga tao sa ato ang country para maintain ang ato ang trust and loyalty sa ilaha. And of course, para sa protection and safety kay ang mga tao needs na sa mga law enforcement para sa ilahang kaligtasan. So, law enforcement officers is maoy mo maintain nga or mo remind sa mga tao unsa ang mga public order, and also investigate sa mga illegal na mga activities nga ginabuhat. So, law enforcement officers is big impact para sa ato ang country, so that ginaa sa Code of Ethics nga thoughts and honest and thoughts in deeds in my both personal and official life. So dapat nga being honest gid ka sa imuhang work, dili gyud ka dapat avoid temptation sa mga tao na nagapalibot sa imo, og dili ka magpadala sa mga bayad para lang ma-avoid sila sa mga sala, kundili mo-obey gyud ka sa laws and regulations about sa criminology. So kung kung loyal ka sa imong trabaho, no matter what happen, imo siyang i-maintain, i-serve mo, i-preserve gyud nimo imong kagalingon dira sa trabaho, kay aron maintain ang atong integrity, because a lot of people puts their trust into the law enforcement so that they should perform their job, so that they should perform their job in a progressive, ethical, and effective way. Kay dire makita nato kung unsa gyud tong mga effective nga mahitabo if mag-serbisyo ta ani. So, because law enforcement officers can bring protection and peaceful in our country. So, Article 8, effectivity, which is the same explanation ra gyapon siya sa Article 7 nga nagatalk gyapon siya sa Code of Ethics nga mga responsibilities or doing your jobs in a good way or as a officers. So dapat buhaton nimo na siya in a effective way nga na ay epektibo nga na ay positive nga effective sa imuhang pag-serbisyo. So that's all and thank you.